Hello and welcome. Regularly listed as one of the sexiest men in Hollywood, this actor has proved his versatility from action-adventure films like Zorro to the animated comedy of Puss in Boots in the Shrek sequels. But his story dates back to the street theaters of Spain. This week on One, meet dynamic Hollywood star Antonio Banderas. There are few on Hollywood's A-list as energetic as this star, keeping remarkably fit in order to bring dynamism to the big screen, as he proved in the physically demanding role of Zorro. Walking the red carpets of international film festivals now, Antonio Banderas can look back and laugh, but life began humbly for him in the Andalusian town of Malaga in Spain, born as the first son to Jose, a policeman, and his schoolteacher wife Ana. From an early age, Banderas kept a very close relationship with his parents and his younger brother Francisco, a strong bond that remained even once he left Spain to settle in Hollywood. Ironically, it was when his early aspirations to be a soccer player ended with a broken foot at 14 that theatre called to him, and before long he was touring Spain as a performer. Banderas' big break came when the artistically creative director, Pedro Almodovar, started casting him for his often controversial films, challenging him to play demanding and often risque roles. A high-profile marriage to fellow Hollywood star Melanie Griffith created much tabloid speculation, but Banderas has held together family life, focusing a lot of his time and attention on their daughter Stella. As he continues to seek challenging roles as an actor, the popular star can be confident knowing that the world is out there waiting for him. Antonio, good to talk with you.
Thank you.
Do you feel challenged as an actor? Do you feel tested?
Always. I think every artist, not just an actor, should feel challenged, because in the moment that you start getting accommodated and you feel comfortable in what you're doing, you start losing the power. You have to question all the time, and you have to completely find your professional world as a challenge.
It's interesting reading what you say about Hollywood. I know you're not a big fan, really, of the Hollywood environment. You know, when you describe the red carpet as a wax museum, and you say that, you know, the people are, it's like LA's a fake city and so on, that it's a working place for you. What is it that you most dislike about that Hollywood scene?
Well, everything that is related probably with, I mean, this art of us is that. In one side is art, and in the other side is industry. And I just don't like the industry side. I mean, money corrupts everything, but I shouldn't complain, you know, because Hollywood and America in general has been awfully nice to me.
Tell me about your early childhood in your birth town in Malaga, in the Andalusia region of Spain. You're very proud of it. What do you remember of those early years?
Well, a very warm family. I was lucky, you know, in relationship with my brother, with my mother and my father. And then the exterior world outside of the family was a little bit tougher. We were living under a dictatorship until I was 15. Franco died at the time. And you are not conscious, actually, when you are so little about the things that you do or you can't do. But at the time of 13, 14 years old, I was getting conscious of what was going on in the country. People started complaining about the regime. So they were very political years. Actually, and those are the years that I started getting interested in theater. And when you get interested in theater, which is a very revolutionary art, if you want, you know, in a dictatorship, you get conscious very fast, very fast. I remember acting and seeing the shine of the police in the wings of the theater, and when we just took the bow, they just came and arrested us.
I'm going to ask you about that in a minute, but it's interesting, your father, Jose, after whom you're named actually, was a member of the Spanish Civil Guards. How was your relationship with him? What characteristics did he give you?
Very good. He was a very calm man. Fortunately, he never was on the social brigade of Franco. You know, he was a secret police, but he was working, actually going to Morocco. So it was very interesting because I had a very interesting relationship with the Arab world through my father. He used to bring a lot of, you know, things like hats and katsans and this puff that we use on the floor, and food like sopa harira and couscous. I knew all of those things because of my father, and he loved that culture, But he was a very, very laid-back man. He never raised his hand to me or screamed to me. He was a dialogue man, as my mother was. And so in my family, that was not an issue.
How did you handle his passing away in the February of 2008?
Well, it was a big lesson of life, more than death. I'm thankful that actually life allowed me to, gave me the opportunity to spend time with him. So what I did is I wasn't shooting a movie, and it was a counter time for what the doctor said to us. You know, he was going to die in a couple of months. So I had the opportunity to put together my whole entire family around him, and just say goodbye with dignity and love. And in home. I didn't want to have him in a hospital. I didn't have nurses. My brother and I took care of him. We cleaned him. We did everything that we could, and that was very important. I think very important for him. I would like to go as he went away, but it was very important for me too. It left me a feeling of peace inside that I did what I had to do, and as I said to you at the beginning of the answer, you know, it was a lesson of life that you have to live every second of life, to flavor it, because it's just too short. And when you see death so close, that becomes something really, really important.
What about your mother, Anna, from who you carry the name Banderas as well? She was a school teacher. Was she a strict mother?
Yes, it was. In fact, it was no fun because I had school, and then when we came home, we had school. And you wake up, you have school. So there was a continuation of the school all around the day. She was very picky for my brother and I just to be cultured.
Were you close with Francisco?
Yes, he's here with me in these days, yeah. Oh, we are real brothers, actually.
You had quite a strong Roman Catholic upbringing, and then later moved away from religious doctrine. How did your parents react to that?
Not very bad. My father and my mother were not very fundamentalist. We are Andalusian religion people. I am a Catholic culturally. I was born in that, and even participate every year in the celebration of the Holy Week. But I see in that not so much religion as I see spirituality and basically identity. Identity. That's what we are in our land, so it's traditional. And sometimes I go there just to breathe Andalusia and to recapture what I was and don't lose the roots. I think a man without roots is nobody.
How did your parents react to you wanting to become an actor?
Bad.
Really bad?
Bad, especially my mother. Yeah. My father was always, you know, as I said to you before, more laid back, and in fact, I think he kind of liked the idea secretly. He never opposed, and in fact, he helped me a lot in the first years in Madrid, in the beginning of the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. He was very supportive economically and also, you know, emotionally too. You know, he was just telling me, like, you have to do, you want to do this, you have to do it right. Okay, so just go to school, learn how to do your professional thing. But my mother was not very happy about that, basically because we went away. And she wanted to have us just with her. So it's a human behavior, absolutely.
I gather it was a stage production of Hair that captured your heart with this profession, was it?
Magic. Yeah. Theater, still, now. Theater is magic. I am an actor because of theater, not because of movies. I just loved the ritual.
And you went to study at the School of Dramatic Art in Malaga. Now, did that give you the kind of range you needed in a relatively small town and at that time?
Yes, because everybody who goes there, I got there when I was 14, 15 years old, they had the same craziness than me. Before that I got in there, I thought I was alone, that I was becoming nuts, because there was no industry of theater in my city. So I am a weird animal. I was kind of getting some type of a strange complex of I don't know what, rareness, a strange thing. And then I discovered that there were more people than me.
As you point out, you were touring Spain, doing street theater and so on, and you were arrested a number of times by the police at that time of Franco. Now, did you see the performing as a political thing at that time?
Yes. Yes, I saw it like that. But we were basically working on the universities and in Malaga, all around Andalusia, and there were very difficult times. It was very confusing because the regime was dying. When the regime is dying, you know, it's trying to survive more. It's just trying to catch breath, and so all the branches of the regime start getting very active, just to take position. And so we were threatening them. And sometimes I remember one day I got arrested. My father was in the police station. And he said to me, "What are you doing here with the makeup?" I said, "I don't know. Ask those guys that are your friends." And so basically what they did just to take our fingerprints and just release us. And they couldn't do anything, more than that, actually.
At 19, you ended up in Madrid. That's quite a young age to go to the big city, trying to get a break there. How did you adjust to that kind of life? You're doing some, I think, waiting on tables. You're a waiter for a while, doing some modeling. It's the cliche actor story in some ways.
In some ways, yes, it is. It is actually. At the time, we only have one channel on television. There was very little productions. The theater was just run by families or clans, that they got together. It was very difficult to get a job. So, yes, I did practically everything without losing the dignity. But I lived the first year that I went to Madrid. I lived in, I think it was in 9 pensions and in 9 little hotels with a little room. I didn't even unplug my my suitcase. Everything was open always because I didn't have money. They were going to kick me out. So sometimes I just spent a couple of weeks in some of them. Sometimes the owner was a little bit more merciful and allowed me to be there a little bit more. But now I remember those times with a smile, but they were hard. They were hard, yeah.
Well, things certainly got better. We're going to ask you about that in a moment. Don't go away. We're back with more one-on-one with Antonio Banderas in just a moment.